This is Scotty's world, and Zena's just living in it. Now, I told y'all it was only a matter of time before Scotty's mask came off. And that ego is just so big that it's filled with gaslighting, pour a little bit. Him lying, pour a little bit. Self-esteem issues, pour a little bit. We're going to get into it all right about now from a therapist's perspective. Now, in episode 6 of the Ultimatum, okay, Scotty is enraged, okay? And it shows you just how, even though you don't say stuff, your body language tells a story. Now, he walks in after this, little hookup between the boys at the bar, and he's upset, okay? To me, I feel like his ego got hit. His girl is starting to develop feelings for Caleb, and he see the writing on the wall. Okay? I didn't think she was really going to come here and find love. But it shows you just how in relationships, dysfunctional communication patterns. How you can be upset, and instead of communicating with your partner about how you're feeling, what happened, you're just going to walk around and pout. You're just going to walk around with an adult tantrum. Okay, now your girl is asking you, I see something is going on. You want to talk about it? Let's communicate. Do you need time for yourself? Instead, he's internally huffing and puffing. And to me, this is an adult tantrum. This man is having a tantrum inside. He's so filled up with rage, hostility. He's realizing he's losing control. And this is a lot of y'all being passive aggressive, microaggressions, and instead of talking about it, I'm just going to internally explode and then take my ish out on you, because I ain't got nobody else to take it out on. You standing right in front of me. So instead of me learning how to emotionally regulate, know that these feelings and emotions are temporary, know that I have control, know that the person in front of me is not the problem. It's some other ish going on. Learn how to emotionally regulate. Oh yeah, you gonna hit these bullets. I'm gonna load the chopper and point it right at you. Okay, now he has this energized body language. He's become very active by this party. And the communication style that he uses is more passive aggressive, more hostile. Okay, he continues to gaslight her for a couple days. Scotty, to me, is a walking red flag, because this is a person that a lot of people date. He doesn't know how to effectively communicate. He becomes hostile. He gaslights you. He's passive aggressive. He's possessive. All the makings of somebody who you don't want to be in a relationship with. And I think for the longest time, he's been able to gaslight and have control over Ariana, and that's why their relationship works. Not only that, but I think that the distance also makes it work between them. But you guys have to learn how to argue with your partner. Yes, there is a way to effectively argue where you don't stonewall, you don't go through blow-ups. Learning how to communicate your needs, learning how to step away. And as a couples therapist, I talk to people about taking breaks from arguments. Now, if you want to have a conversation with your partner about something that is bothering you or an argument, learn how to settle down first. Settle into your emotions. Let them simmer a little bit. And then, as I've calmed down, I might write down some things I want to discuss. Even in your phone, do a voice memo. Okay? Tell your partner, I would like to have this conversation, but I'm not in the mental space to have it. And I don't want to say some things to you that will make our relationship worse, or things that I will regret. So let's have an agreement. I'm going to take some time to myself for a little bit. Put a time frame. It could be an hour. It can be, we got these kids in the way, so once they go to bed, we're going to have a conversation. But we're going to come back to this. But the key thing that y'all don't do is hold one another accountable. So if I say on Saturday night, we're going to have this conversation, I'm going to write down my thoughts, and we're going to come together and talk about it, It's really up to y'all to really make sure, hey, I just want to bring it up that we did say tonight at 7, we're going to have this conversation. Do you feel like you're in a mental capacity to still have the talk? Does it still work for you? Because I really want us to have this conversation. I don't want it to be another thing we brush under the rug. Life happens and we forget to go back to the conversation. One another. Hold the other person accountable. We agree, right? That we're going to talk on Friday. That we're going to talk on Thursday. And tell the other person or ask, do you mind if I remind you? Okay. Who wants to be the one who's going to bring up, hey, remember what we said? Because you have to have that conversation or add that to it, because one partner sometimes can feel like I'm always the one initiating. If I don't say it, if I don't bring it up, then nothing's going to happen. Right? Y'all know I'm right. So make sure do you mind if I remind you? Do you mind if I ask you to remind me? Those effective ways of having arguments, miscommunication, but using your emotional intelligence to go back to that conversation, simmer down, not making permanent decisions off temporary emotions. And let's get further into it. Okay, Scotty I said he's very controlling. Let's talk about that bathroom conversation. Zena asked him, is there anything you would like to do before the experiment is over, and before the next split happens? Yeah, you. Bro, can we use our emotional intelligence? Why does it always have to be about sex? Okay, and then he flips it. Like he always do, like he did with the whole balloon date. You've been going in the bathroom with your phone at 1 o'clock in the morning. Bro, what? Where'd that come from? He's still simmering. He's not over the whole bar thing. And unfortunately, Zena is in his pathway. So he starts to gaslight her. Okay? Having this conversation, she's trying to communicate with him. Out of all the people, even though I don't think JR and Zena are together in real life, I think it was for the show. She does have some emotional intelligence, and she does communicate for the most part very well. I know some of y'all are going to probably attack me about that, but I do think that she has her and Caleb do to me have very good ways of communicating out of all the cast members. But so he's still simmering. And she decides, you know what? I'm going to go stay somewhere else. This ain't working. This attitude, I ain't got to deal with this. Oh, you going to leave me? You think you have power and control to make your own decisions? And that ego erupts. And he starts to gaslight her over and over again, making her try to feel like she's crazy. And a lot of you guys have been, like I said, in relationships with people like Scotty. Okay? And she leaves. And of course we get to the JR and Sandy show. And now these two, Sandy is the puppet master. And over again we have seen how she's playing both these guys for the intention, for her own sake. And she starts to have a little bit of a meltdown. This is all too much, and the pressure. Girl, you put yourself in this position. Don't throw them stones and then hide your hands. Okay, because that's what she's done over and over again, is complain and talk about Nick, and now she's crying. Now you're the victim. Okay, but I feel like JR is just starting to spiral a little bit. We see Rimlings while they're walking in the park. It's there. He don't want to leave. He want to stay. He don't want to go back to his other partner. He's gotten used to things here. And side note, that dress that Sandy wore to the girls thing, it was thin as hell. Okay? But we see how these two are functioning over lust, physical connection, power, and control. And I think JR also shows me somebody who has an adult tantrum and feels like Nick is taking his toy. Why are we always talking about Nick? It's about me and you, girl. And he starts to have an adult tantrum. internally because his toy, his plaything, is being pulled away from him. What am I going to do now? Okay? Over and over again. And let's talk about Nick getting this tattoo. Now, I have tattoos. There have been plenty of times I've gone through in my life things where I walked into a tattoo shop myself. I have a couple of things on me that I was going through something in my life and I walked in. I have permanent reminders that I can overcome and heal from those things. Now, Nick, I need him to work on himself and get some therapy. Okay? I'm curious to see how things go when him and Sandy get back together because JR is not going to let that thing go. He not. That's his toy. And both these men are being pulled and manipulated for Sandy to enjoy, to play with, to have her time. Now, in the next episode, we are going to get back to them coming back together. I'm so curious. I haven't gotten to that episode yet as of recording this. But let me know, do you know how to effectively fight, communicate, argue, have miscommunications? Do you have adult tantrums with your partner? Which of the tools I have provided you with when it comes to arguments, disagreements, passive-aggressive communication styles, which are you going to take away? Which ones do you recognize that you placate and use in the way you communicate with your partner, your friends, your family? Do you take any responsibility when it comes to disagreements? Because Scotty can't, JR can't. Instead, they gaslight instead of taking accountability. But I want to know, what did you think of this episode? How can we better effectively communicate with our partners? Are you going to stick to gaslighting? Okay?